They were literally just chilling there. I'm not even sure.
I just pulled Steven's fucking teeth out one by one. Then I replaced them all.
I have Wolverine regeneration.
His teeth are now titanium carbonate made of the deepest of atoms from kryptonite. Those are kryptonite molars and diamond canines.
Back here again.
If you want real fronts, you come to Newell's Enterprises, where I'll hook you up. Okay, I'll rip out all your front shit. I'll put some big ass diamonds in there. I don't even do teeth. I just do big ass diamonds.
You want that Paul Wall?
Yeah, make me a girl, baby. But back in action again. Thanks anybody for watching. Thanks for any likes, any views, anything. Just trying to keep the content flowing here. We won't stop on it until we reach some thousands of episodes.
You want 1,000? With only 50 views, we're still here.
You want 10,000? 100,000?
With only 50 views per each, we're still here.
Listen, we're going to get some more guests popping up on here. Need to have some more combo. Some different opinions coming up on here.
We'd like to label that phase 2.
That's going to be 2.0. 2.0 of the creation. But for now,
I mean, even God didn't create, the universe of Earth in one day. Come on now.
Yeah, it took a little while, to be honest with you.
It took a little while.
A little longer than it should have.
A little computing power. He was only working with like 4 gigs of RAM. Terrible processor. I'm not even sure what I'm saying.
Basic level 1 MacBook. That's what God. I'll tell you what, though. It is very true that in your times of need, you say whatever you want. But when you're scared. You're most scared when you're in that dark hole and you really think it's all over, or you really need a big favor. We all go, please, if you're up there, just give me just this one.
If there's anything out there.
How many times have you said that now? You're
there's any force.
Just this one. I swear to God. I don't need anything else.
I'll tell you what, I get why people are like, they thank God for their accomplishments. I think a lot of people don't give themselves enough credit. They usually give all their strength to like a higher power or God. It's like, come on, give some credit to yourself. You went out and you did that.
Yeah.
Maybe God gave you a little strength, but you did that.
I feel like it's also kind of a PR thing, though.
Take pride in that.
Like, always thank God, never take credit.
Even everyday people, though, everyday people. Just like, I got promoted and thank God for another day. Blah, blah,
I feel bad for the people that have really, listen, I don't know, maybe even you want to, but the people that are out here giving 10% of their checks to their church, I feel bad for them people. And maybe it's what you want to do. Maybe it's what makes you happy, but I feel like you're getting scammed.
Yeah. And a lot of people do that in hopes of like receiving good karma back towards them, or it comes like what goes around comes around, but they expect the same thing to happen with good gestures. I mean, I don't think it's not how it works, people.
Yeah, it's like the people that feel like that and say stuff like that, like, yeah, that's not karma, that's not coming. It's if you do something with the intent of having something in back, you didn't do anything.
Exactly.
You didn't do nothing. Yeah. You did a negative thing.
Exactly. You just gotta like
you did something in your own
interest. It cancels out the universe.
Exactly.
Like, come on, it's like
that's definitely not fair.
It's like simple algebra. Like, come on, man. Like, done. Nothing. Come on.
But
get your shit straight.
Let's get into it.
Pay them motherfucking. I'm not even saying women champs. Pay the champs.
So you think that they should get same pay as men?
Well, at this point, they should be paid more. More. I'm talking 4-time World Cup champions. 4-time, back-to-back. 2015, 2019, back-to-back champions. They get the job done.
Okay, so Memphis Grizzlies go and win 4 straight championships.
Okay.
Are they LA now?
What are they LA now?
Are they now as big as LA?
To win 4 championships?
Let's say Memphis Grizzlies win 4 straight championships. Are they now as big as the LA Lakers?
Well, I mean, look at the Warriors.
Well, that's California.
Yeah, but I'm saying like, you take a team and especially in this day and age that dominates, their brand grows exponentially. The amount of money that they start making as a team goes through the fucking roof, whether it be through your increased ad revenue from playing through the postseason. If there's any type of bonuses for winning championships,
But they do all. There is a bonus. They get bonuses the entire way.
for playoffs.
It's just not the same. It's just not the same as the males. That's what they were arguing about. Is like I believe like the males would have been like 1.8 a piece, and the women's was like 985,000. But all that
for their bonus,
for their main bonus, yeah. I believe.
Well, I know. Like from what I understand, like that you get like millions of dollars for winning the World Cup, and like women's it doesn't even clear like $1 million.
No, for women's
exactly.
It's about $1 million,
and
but men only get a couple mil.
And
it's not that
and
crazy,
they get like a. But I mean, like you got women who get paid. I think it's like 18 grand a win or something. Whereas men get upwards of like 100,000 per win. And then if they were to win,
but how does that correlate all to sales? That's not just made up. That's not just we decided that.
But we're talking,
the women's tickets are $20. The men's tickets are $50.
Listen, but let's talk about on the actual World Cup stage. I mean, you want to talk about men generating viewership and ticket sales, but they weren't even in a World Cup to generate ticket sales for a World Cup last year.
But even as being that bad, they still are generating more revenue than the women winning.
Oh, okay, cool. Of course, but that comes from a systemic problem in which, men's sports have always been at the forefront, have always dominated those things. Now and then at this point, let's talk about how the USA men actually play. Let's talk about how good they actually
think though. All you're doing right there though is picking out and trying to find an even playing ground when there isn't. It's the fact is that it's fan interest. That's how this is based off of payment. It's fan interest. People want to watch the men play. They don't want to watch the women play.
Understandably.
Now they're building towards it, and more bonuses will probably come. But that's not structured of we pay men this and we pay women this. It's how much they bring in on viewership.
Understandably,
and that all will increase over time.
But
if you can't just say we should pay them more because they're winning. They should get paid more. They should make more the more they win. But it doesn't necessarily mean you should make more than this person because you won more. A loser, listen, okay, let's say.
Apply the same logic to it the other way around, where it's like, okay, it's not even make it about, how well they. I don't even know. Like, sure, they make more money. Whatever way you want to put it, whatever.
They bring in more revenue. I mean, that's just fact.
But this past World Cup, we saw the women had made more revenue from those than the actual men did. And I mean, like, come on, and regardless of that, the disparities between it, because we can't sit there and act like that the money isn't there, on the men's side, the women's side, regardless, there's funding behind the women's national team. Maybe you don't take it, and you're like, all right, look, we get it, like every one of those women should make, $1 million a piece or 800,000, whatever. But the disparity shouldn't be women getting paid like 40 grand, men getting paid like 1 million. I mean, like it just doesn't make sense.
See, for me, that's just you saying that's just. But bro, I'm left everything, but that's just way too left right there, bro. At the end of the day, it's a portion of the profits. So if they end up making more money, they will eventually make more than men. But the bottom line is that people are more interested in seeing the men compete against the men. I mean, that's just what society is.
Of course,
no way around that to say,
100%.
We should pay them more, but they're not making more necessarily. That doesn't work like that, bro.
I get you, but I mean, again, like people want to sit there and act like the money isn't there to pay them what they're rightfully owed and have.
Well,
deserved.
Me and you don't know that. I don't know that. What's the percentage they're getting? What if it? I doubt that there's a difference, Steve. It's probably the team gets 15% of their revenue they earn. And then the men get 15% of revenue they earn.
So I mean, like, there's no like class action lawsuit. There's no like I said, there's no current lawsuit filed with like the U.S. soccer team and whatnot. I mean, like the problems are there. Regardless of however way you want to cut it.
Listen, CM Punk makes more to fight than Tony Ferguson. Okay? Does that make any fucking sense? No. And not a drop. People want to see CM Punk fight. They want to see it. So that's where the money's at. So that's where the money goes. That's just what the world is. You can't sit out here and say, they're winning a lot. They're doing better. I want to see them make a lot of money. But if they get a portion of the profit. So therefore, if you don't profit more, then more money don't come.
Okay,
There's
so
no we gotta pay them more because it's not equal.
I mean, but that's what 100% what it is. I mean, like you know, I get like they say,
go to this.
the revenue is there, but I mean, like I mean, like regardless of how you want to cut it up, pay disparities there. They deserve more. They need to be paid more.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
I'll
Now,
agree with this.
we can
It
sit there and
seems
say
like there's a big jump.
7% of revenue, whatever competition winnings, wherever the money is at. We can pay these goddamn women.
Listen,
cut it up
I'll
any way
agree.
you fucking want to. You know?
I will agree with you all day that I bet that it could be increased, Steve. You know that. It could definitely be increased. And I don't think that it should be that big of a gap.
How big is a soccer roster? Okay. How big is a soccer roster?
This is what I was about to get to you. Listen, thank you, Chaz, for information. Do you know why the women of America are so good, but the men aren't?
Yeah, I remember I brought it up last time. Women's soccer was pushed very early.
Right.
During the 70s, I think it was the Nixon administration. They passed a gender discrimination bill, which pretty much based off, you know, you couldn't have funding skewed towards more male sports than women's sports just because the male sports were more popular or they were more successful and whatnot or whatever. You know, women's soccer was pushed because it was easily fundable, low equipment costs,
exactly,
and you had high amounts of roster space for women to play. Plus, it was very little contact. It seemed like a sport. And I mean, and even in many eyes in America at least, soccer is a women's sport. Everywhere else you go, I mean, in Germany, UK, they had women's soccer banned up until the late 70s, and then didn't fund it properly like we did.
Right. So, I mean, it's not like we're sitting here what I'm trying to get on that is like, we're not sitting here going, men are better than women. That's not what we're doing there. You know, we try to find a playground for them to go straight towards, just like we have with men. They found a good one. They're making good bonuses. The money may still not equal up. They might have to do that again. Maybe it eventually becomes greater. But at the end of the day, it's supposed to be just a portion of the revenue. So if more revenue ain't coming in, then you can't just pay more unless, like we're saying, maybe there's some sketchy shit going on, right? And they're only, let's say we find out they're only getting 12% of revenue. Then we go, hold the fuck up.
Soccer is a lot like boxing. We have a lot of international organizations that play into it that, you know, set up a lot of these matches and they, you know, get their money as well. 100% understandably so. But as an American national team, just like an Olympic team, it's funded ultimately by the government. If we can't go out and earn more in winnings, we can take a portion
of that motherfucking military budget
or whatever, or even take a small portion of, you know, men's player salaries to, you know, equal it out more. I mean, like, come on. I mean, like, these men go out, they play on, you know, either in the MLS or they'll go over and very few play in the European in top 5, and they make good money. Whereas, you know, most of these women, even in the UK, like a lot of these teams don't have women's soccer teams yet. There is a national women's soccer league. Of course, you know, with ridiculously low profits, maybe they sell 500 tickets. I mean, yeah. Now, if we're going to sit and say MLS players versus, you know, the brand of U.S. women's national soccer on the world stage, as far as, you know, being at the top of what they do, I mean, you can't, honestly, you know, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I don't think you could ever cut it up any which way to where you can make it to where there's such a huge disparity in between their pay. I mean, you know, however you get the money or however you find the money, you gotta cough it up to them. You know, I mean, the work that they put in and the way they represented on the world stage year after year, those girls play harder than the men have ever played.
Yeah, I just disagree on that. I just disagree entirely. I mean, to sit there, man, I'd love to see a Michael Bradley out here right now ready to fight you, you know, because to say that, like, the men don't want it, they're not playing as hard, I just think that's ridiculous. I just think there's a lot different playing field when the men are out there battling the fucking Leo Messis. You know what I mean?
But they're not.
If you got into World Cup,
we literally lost, you know, to Mexico the same night in the Gold Cup.
Mexico ain't bad.
We didn't even qualify. I believe we lost to Panama. I believe we lost to a lot of these South American countries that don't have that star player, you know?
But still can be better teams than us. I mean, look at us in basketball. It's the same exact thing, bro. It doesn't just mean they're not playing hard. Come on now, man. Somebody's playing for their national team, for their country, dog. You think they're not playing hard? They're still getting paid. They're playing as hard as they can. I just think there's a talent disparity where the U.S. women, Every time they come in, they're up there with the favorites to win the fucking thing.
Yeah, they're
The
great.
men are
with
it's
the
hard.
likes of Germany and with it's not like
It's
not
way
like
less competition, bro.
But no,
it's way less competition.
No, literally, Germany was a top seed, even considered better than the U.S. women's team this year, and were outside of America pegged to be if not the U.S. team favorites to win. Yeah, in soccer in the round of 16, you get huge upsets. They were taken out by someone like Sweden. All right, it's not like America goes out, they go into the round of 16 and lose to Brazil. No, we're going out. We're losing to teams fucking like in Panama, Chile. I mean, like, come on. I mean, we're losing to Sweden. We're losing to other. I mean,
listen,
especially with the amount of funding that national teams get.
There's a reason the men don't play with the women. Okay, it's simple as that. Because there is a disparity. There's a difference. I think you're going to be hard pressed to find me a woman's team that could go out there and beat any men's team. I mean, I just think that that it's just a different level of competition. Not taking anything away from a women's World Cup. I know that's super hard, and I bet a lot of times, just like with the WNBA, I bet they're actually more technical in their craft. But when you come to like the power, the athleticism, the speed,
I mean,
it is a different level of competition.
And I get that, but to then say that the reason that the U.S. women's team is on top is because talent is lacking elsewhere, or that there's not a team that can really match them. Doesn't do any bit of justice for them, because I mean, basically what you're saying is that like just because they're not facing competition, that's just how good that they are. That's just how I mean, like. Let's be real.
How many good teams are there, Steve?
But listen.
How many good teams are there?
So look,
you said
hold on.
There was 4.
Listen.
You named 4. You named 4 women's teams.
You could do the same in the World Cup with men's. Who leads the World Cup every year after year? I mean, right now, like you have France on top.
Wasn't Croatia in it last year? Wasn't that the team?
Croatia's a good team.
Croatia, right?
A lot of those
France,
players
right?
play in the top
Germany,
5.
right?
Come on.
Spain, right? I mean, I think you can literally go to maybe 8 to 10 teams.
So I mean, like to go from that. I mean, like in the World Cup year after year, who do you mainly see dominate? You got Germany up there. UK goes, but I mean, like when they don't do much, choke. Let's see. You got you even got so you got Germany, you got Brazil. I mean, who else could you even really think of that's up there? I mean, Croatia Croatia was a sleeper. Croatia wasn't even supposed to go.
Right.
Russia wasn't supposed to go that far. Sports are funny. Sports,
I feel like
crazy things happen.
That kind of shows you. You know what I mean? Where America was actually a favorite, right?
But yeah, but to say that they face less competition, that's why they were a favorite is ridiculous.
I'm not
we
saying
are a good team.
I'm not saying
we
they
have
just
good
face
players.
I'm saying there is less competition.
Now listen. So you go into these other countries like in Europe. You have women who play in the top 5 women's league over in Europe. Where you play some of the best soccer competition that you can over in Europe, where soccer is way bigger than here in America.
Let me get this right here. Okay. Let me just say.
There's a reason.
I just want to see if I
There's only like 10 American players in the top 5 European league.
We've now both explained where we're coming from on this. For your final thought, I want to see. We do. Okay, let's just say the law is right that 15% of the team's revenue goes to the players, right? So it's split up evenly, no matter what. We established that right there, right? American guys play a game at Royal Farms Arena. I don't fucking know, wherever. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. On Friday.
Right. And
they sell 2,000 shirts. Women play Saturday and sell 1,000 shirts. You think that 500 of those sale prices from the men should go to the women so that they both are 50-50?
No. But on that note, the Women's World Cup jersey was the USA Women's was a record-breaking selling jersey.
It was a good year.
It was record-breaking sale.
I'm sure they get
World
royalties
Cup.
on that some way or another.
Now, also on that note, though, again, I mean, it's like, yeah, sure, there's a lot of competition out there. There's competition to be had everywhere. But, I mean, again, and on the women's stage, like, Brazil is a huge contender. Italy's a huge contender. England's a huge contender. Germany's a huge contender. And Netherlands proved that, they're a huge contender in the World Cup. I mean, there's talent out there. I mean, there's players, that go out there, ball out, and they face tough competition. We are just awesome. We have great players. We have playmakers. We have smart
Mhm.
people, and ultimately, like when you look at names like Carly Lloyd or Rapinoe or Alex Morgan, arguably some of the biggest names in women's soccer anywhere in the world. Now they don't go over and play in top 5 European league. They play here in the women's league. I mean, yeah, the development isn't there, but I mean, we need to move to that point. We need to fund more, and
You're saying
they've
we
earned
need
it.
to. You're saying
Yeah.
we need to.
Yeah.
Who needs to?
Yeah.
The only way you do that is if the fans want it.
Yeah,
is
but
that what the
look,
fans want? Then that's what we do.
but
That's how it
again-
goes. You don't just do
But
it to
listen,
do it.
but again, funding for these teams comes from the government. I mean, like, come on, it's like if we're not going out and winning women's FIFA tournament money because the profits aren't there, us as America can fund them and subsidize their wages.
So would
simple as that.
So would you say if they were losing, right? If the men were as good as the women, let's just say, well, let's just not put it like that. Let's just put it, the men were winning as much as the women, right? And the women lost as much as the men. Do you still feel the same way? Like they should be getting more compensated?
It wouldn't be,
or does it come along?
Like to what, like I think what they're like deserving now. I mean, like,
okay, so you do believe that accomplishments play into this, right?
It's huge. I mean, like there's tournament winnings and prize money and revenue generated from those tournament
right.
appearances.
Okay, so like for let's say like if
if you're not making tournament,
let's say like we do women's basketball Olympics, it's okay to pay those women less money than the men's team.
The women's team balls out as well.
What would you say though? Is that okay though?
Like what do you mean? Like I don't understand. Like
put it in any sport you want to. Long jump, whatever it is. Let's just say if the women aren't being as successful as the men, are you still in favor of them getting as much as the men?
I think they should be paid just as much. And for the same reason. Again, let's say that they aren't as successful as a country, as a team who's are funding these national teams for their training practices and for them to go out and represent us on world stages. We can in turn pay them more. Okay, maybe like I said, maybe the money isn't there from the FIFA organization for women's, from revenue, from TV sellings and whatnot. Maybe that's not there, but us as a country for a soccer roster,
we can give a fatter bonus. We can give a fatter bonus.
And I mean, like, okay, let's say you're not even for arguing that it should be an equal pay. Everyone should be making 1.1 mil. It shouldn't be like 1,000% disparity between.
I agree, and I agree on that, and And if you went back to back, then I think that should be a fatter bonus. Well, whatever your bonus last year was, it should be double.
I think it's also three straight finals appearances. We lost in 2011 to Japan, but that's 3 straight finals appearances in World Cups.
2 out of 3
over the course of 12 years.
I'm all for them getting a fatter ass bonus. I like that too. Especially like when you are generating this much money. Obviously, they're selling the shit out of them jerseys. Blah blah blah. I think they should get a fatter bonus. But at the end of the day, I don't think that you can say. What I'm trying to get to is on every sport you can't just go. We got to have fair play, or else you're not going to have every sport.
I know, I get you on that. But as far as like national organizations, when the women's team's going out, like the WNBA, they don't make as much money. They're not as marketable. They make less money. That's in a domestic organization. That's a private company who's there to make money. Of course, we can't be like, hey, dig into your profits and pay them out, even though that might put you in the red based off what you're generating in revenue.
But the country can.
But as an Olympic organization, as a national organization, I mean, we're also talking about gold medal winners going out, winning Olympic soccer tournaments. I mean, they've been successful for a long period of time.
No, I'm all for fat ass bonuses.
Especially, in a country like the USA, I would not argue that the money isn't there in TV, revenue or, sales, ticket sales, jersey sales, or anything. But as in a country, national organization, even if they are going out and winning, $1 million, or $10 million World Cups or $40 million prize winnings, you can still pay these women, the champions.
Would you agree that it should go to like a point? Like, well, not agree, but do you believe that like, what if it came to a point where you were in the red?
What do you mean?
You're losing money
as far as like the women's
funding any team, just men, women, whatever. If something's in the red, do you think the country should still fund it for the sake of representing on the national stage?
I mean, these organizations, they're not out. I mean, of course, it's good for them to generate money and try and pay for themselves. But when we make these, organizations, we're making them to represent us on the world stages, such as the Olympics, to compete. I mean, the Olympics culturally and traditionally is, it's a huge deal. It represents you as a country and how developed and how good you are at, developing athletes, players, and, taking care of them, making, going out and showing up, and pretty much just showing off what you as a country can do with, organization and your money, your talents, your coaching talents and whatnot, and to go out and to win those gold medals against people who are also working towards them just as hard. It's a huge thing.
Do you think, what do you think should have been the punishment for the Russian doping scandal?
Where all those Olympic athletes were caught, doping.
All of them.
Yeah.
Where they won the most gold too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, of course you strip them. I mean, unfair advantage off the jump, ban, but maybe not a lifetime ban. But maybe you do open them up to more scrutiny as far as their training practices, what they're going, what they're doing, and if they're not willing to comply, then it's like, well, don't come compete,
Right. I feel like with that, there's always some sketchy shit going on. Russia would just buy some shit or figure it out, like how they did with the piss test.
Of course,
sketchy
yeah.
how they did that.
Yeah.
For me, I felt like
a way around it.
I felt like that was a weak ass punishment, and that there. Honestly, I see like a 50-year ban. I know it sounds crazy, but that's literally what I see. I went whatever generation was thinking of doing that dumb shit. I want them dead next time you compete.
You're not gonna win a gold.
Yeah,
you're not gonna win a gold.
You ruined the Olympics.
Yeah,
you ruined the Olympics, literally.
Well, I mean,
and state sponsored.
Yeah,
government sponsored doping for their athletes.
I mean,
encouraged.
I mean, like I said, that's the reason. It's to look good on the international stage. I mean, you're not out here to generate revenue and money. I mean, if we were to cut off everything that operated at a loss in this country, we wouldn't have a postal service. I mean, postal service has been operating at a loss for the past, 5-6 years. I mean, like those are things that
mainly because of Amazon, though.
I mean, I don't know about that. I'm not sure about that.
I believe it's like I don't want to put a number on it correctly, but it's a large percent.
Because I know. I know.
And every year it increases.
I know they're definitely oversaturating and subsidizing their costs, by using the postal service. But the only thing you can do about that is either you charge them more or whatever. I mean, yeah.
Just say
that's
no.
That's really the only way to go about it.
Just say no. Amazon will figure it out either way. But we can also both agree that.
Well, they're also moving. They're also making their own. They had that thing where like, if you work in HR, you quit your job. You go open up a delivery firm. They'll
Well, we can both agree that the postal service hasn't exactly revolutionized over the years. Still like an ancient process.
Yeah, I mean, but like when you think about how else do you transfer billions of pieces of mail in a system? I mean, I think your port's pretty good for what it is. I mean,
I think we don't have to do it no more. Why can't it be an email?
I think security is a big thing. Fraud, things like that. With paper, people find ways to counterfeit shit all the time. But there's just a paper trail. It's like when people prefer to mail shit with a check.
You don't send a piece of paper though, and it never gets logged into any computer. Any piece of paper you ever paid to postal office is in a computer with a number somewhere.
Yeah, but I mean, they don't read the letters. They don't open up and read anything.
No, if you're talking about like, if you're talking about like shit getting hacked, I guess that could be anybody. The water got hacked, dog. Baltimore City water got hacked.
Yeah, well, I was there. Computer systems all around. They were fucked.
It's crazy, but I mean, anybody can get hacked. I just feel like, maybe like 2 more generations, and we're ready for no postal offices, and then we can just have to open like more MVAs. To do like passports and like specific maybe you can kind of package it with an MVA or something like that, where because people are still gonna want to send big shit, right? You're still gonna have somebody to send your big shit. Well, no, because like UPS and shit will do that too, but then you're just outsourcing everything. You don't want to outsource everything.
And then again, like then you turn every piece of mail into a digital file. I mean, like I can't imagine looking at a computer system containing all that data, and that's a huge security breach.
We gotta save everything. Why does my shit need to be just? I
shouldn't. Just the amount of data processing to process whole documents. I mean,
who knows where we're at in 20 years, though?
I mean, very
we might
true.
Be at a point where that's nothing.
Oh, of course. I mean, we could always,
by this point, I was saying in 20 years.
Yeah, I don't see any
because there's still like old people that like to write letters and shit like that.
Right, and then as far as like talking, revamping a national system and implementing it with something new. I mean, I'd imagine you'd see 10 years of weaning off before of turning everything digitally. Even if we had the technology right now and we could do it, it would still take years for everything to be transferred over to something digital.
What do you think about not having cash no more?
I love it. I mean, for me, like it's like I don't pay many things with cash anyway. You know, with I don't know many instances of whenever I have cash on me.
So you don't think that would overcrowd a database, or that would be hackable?
Well, but I mean, with the transfer of funds, I mean, like we've been at it for so long. It's
been hacked plenty of times.
Well, of course, people hack in and identity theft and steal money out of people's things. But I mean, like as
you
far
also
as,
got your Wells Fargo's.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I mean,
which would happen 10 times as much.
Well, yeah.
There'd be some sketchiness going on
with digital money. I mean, but that's the thing. Like,
I feel like it'd be easy to hide.
We're already, there.
But
there's the digital trace for everything.
But if I'm a beautiful hacker, right? If I'm just
why you have to launder money in cash.
So I'm a great hacker. I'm just thinking about if I could hit 10 million accounts for 1 penny. Who's gonna notice? Right? Who's gonna notice 1 penny gone?
Yeah, but I mean, like,
no one.
But I mean, like,
and you just hit 10 million accounts.
I mean, who said it doesn't happen now? We're already.
Yeah, it definitely could. But when you have everything going there,
we're already in a cash days. There's no way to intercept, funds. You know what I'm saying? Like as funds are processed on, 7-Eleven. Of course, 7-Eleven. I mean, of course, people listen. Of course, people can hack in and steal money from 7-Eleven.
Who runs at that?
There's third-party organizations all over the place.
So you think it should all just be a third-party organization that's handling
I never
all
said
of our
that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But this is what I'm getting to is we're already in a digital age of money. We're already there.
I'm going with what you think are like, okay, we go digital with all our cash. Who handles all that money? Like, do you think it should be the Wells Fargo's, the M&T banks? Because isn't that just outsourcing all the shit?
But who handles cash now? I mean, Wells Fargo doesn't go and do pickups at 7-Eleven to deposit their cash. You have Dunbar Armored come and pick up their money and take their cash to the bank and deposit it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't get it.
That's a third party who's interacting with cash that people are spending. There's a third party with a lot of things where things get outsourced for cheaper.
Yeah, well, but right now you still have
just like with Equifax, who
there's people that still get paid in a paycheck. Right?
Listen, yeah, but a lot of people,
deposit that to their account.
Well, listen, not even that. A lot of people don't even, a lot of people don't get checks. Most people get direct deposits, because most banks do not allow you free checking accounts unless you have an active direct deposit.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, companies, organizations were already in a digital cash age. There's a reason I can go up and use Apple Pay or Samsung Pay, and there's reasons where we can.
Don't mean I gotta like it.
Tap to pay cards. Of course not. But I mean, like, to say that like third party organizations are. I mean, that's always going to be a threat. I should, I mean, people get money stolen out of their account.
How about only cash? No more cards, bro. Get rid of them fucking cards, bro.
I mean, like, shit like that is expensive to move. I mean, paper's heavy.
Let me tell you guys a story.
Of cash.
Let me tell you why I'm not a fan of cards. Okay. Because there's something about this feeling right here, right? Of when you grind and you sweat and you bleed, literally. It's something about feeling that hard-earned money in your hands that makes you be conscious about it, right? And when you look at our great-grandfathers and even our grandfathers, you don't see that accumulated debt that they went through. And everybody thinks, oh, it's because the living price was easier or they got paid more, right? There's all these reasons that you really want to go to. But when you really want to go to the downfall of this society, it's the creation of the credit and debit card. So I feel like that is such a main clog in things. When you started giving people money that they didn't have to unresponsible people
back then.
I think there was debt, right?
Bank loans were a thing, I mean?
Of course they were. But when you look at the simple debt, right? The stupid debt, Steve, how many people we know? I believe you might have even told me you were in some credit card debt before. Was it you?
I have a credit card, yeah.
Everyone, okay. And I've never got a credit card. It's probably the reason it happened.
Why does that have a negative connotation behind that?
I feel like it's the simplest way for them to ever get you to purchase things you can't afford, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like it was a really master plot to make you always feel like because you're always going to feel like there's another thing you need.
Of course.
And I just think that that was a way for them to justify that without. There's like the people that taught me right way, where you don't buy something that you don't have the money for, right? Unless,
Right.
of course, you take out of a loan for your fucking house. Like that's a bank loan that you can fuck up. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that people still want in debt for
Right,
shit like
right,
that. If you
right.
fuck up, you fuck up.
Right.
But with something with that fucking card, dude, really got people.
So
And they give it to 18-year-olds,
But see, but this is the thing.
19-year-olds, and they
This is
just
what- this is my
swipe,
thing.
swipe, swipe,
People
swipe, swipe.
want to blame companies for something like that when at the end of the day it falls on the person who
I'm seeing this some more of like world
that
conspiracy, dog.
debt.
I'm bigger.
yeah.
I'm going bigger.
Oh
than
yeah,
this.
of course.
I'm seeing that as like world conspiracy style.
Anything to push. Anything.
It's
Listen,
like to
hold
fool
on.
you.
Anything to push consumerism and for you to spend
Yeah,
money.
exactly.
Because what happens is when I use a credit card, Capital One pays them. They give them that money. So with the company, I have that money already. Whatever. But I mean, like people go and people don't pay those at all. I mean, people go into collections and don't end up. I mean, there's losses every year from people not paying back the debts. Of course, we're in a world where people have pushed that and have used that to make people go into extreme debt. But
easy.
But of course,
It's so easy.
but at the end of the day, I knew when I hit $1,000 in credit card debt, it was time to stop.
You knew that.
But listen, yeah, but that again falls onto I mean, like same thing with like people would look at that and be like, yeah, it's a huge conspiracy. But then people would look at people like using dope. It's like, oh, that's a choice. I mean, you're choosing to go ahead and spend all that damn money. You know better. I know better to not spend that money.
See,
You don't
Steve,
have,
you can't do
know
that
what I
though,
mean?
bro. Everybody's
mean?
not us, bro. Always go back to everybody's
Of
not
course,
us.
of
Just
course.
because you hit $1,000 and said that's enough, I know I have to spend no
Of
more.
course.
Other people aren't that strong.
So then,
that's the
so
same
then-
thing in every
so
other
companies bear
category.
responsibility for another person's irresponsibility.
There should be some type of responsibility. There should. I believe on everything. I believe that there should be a responsibility on soda. I don't think that should be allowed. Just because shit is doesn't mean I believe that it's right. I think that shit should be way more translucent.
But so again, consumerism at the end of the day is a choice. And those people that go out and they don't spend a goddamn.
But your
penny,
government doesn't have to allow
everything.
that. Your government don't have to allow that.
They
Your
go
government-
out every day.
Your
They go out every day. They loan
your
out credit every
government
day.
can limit. Of course, if you go through a fucking bank loan, God rest your soul. If you really do, I mean, good luck. You know what I mean? Good luck. You went through a lot to get that. And if you fuck it up, it's on you. But I would love to see how many people fuck up credit cards compared to how many people fuck up bank loans. Because I think the percentage is way higher on credit cards, bro.
Well, I mean,
everybody doesn't have that, man. I don't think so.
Because when you're factoring in bank loans, you're factoring in car financing, you're factoring in mortgages. The vast diversity in bank loans would be enough to comparatively
I would love to
speaking,
see the numbers. I would love to
credit
see
card.
the numbers of
Now,
how
of
many
course,
bank loans were given
credit
out last
card-
year and how many credit cards
credit
were made
card
last year.
is
I would
very-
love to see the
listen,
numbers
listen,
on that. Bro.
Credit cards. At the end, they are also not everyone can get. People can get access to a credit card. A lot of times, if you're just starting out your credit card, you only have a $200 limit or something low like that. Something about $600. People, you can't get a credit card with bad credit. So if you have a bad credit history, like my credit history isn't.
You
listen,
can.
Listen,
You just get fucked harder.
on
You can.
percentage interest. But again, it's like credit cards also do good when people don't have ends meet to pay a bill. I'll put it in my credit card. I can then pay it, over the next couple. Now, of course, high interest.
That's not how life should be going, bro. That's not a good way to live.
But we're talking about more systemic.
That means you're living outside of your means.
Listen. We're talking more systemic issues that stem for people to turn to credit cards. We're talking low wages. We're talking, for a while, high unemployment, low amount of jobs being created. I mean, people, aren't working. And when it comes to, getting a credit card to look to pay bills, there's a problem with the system underneath before people turn to look to credit cards to pay for shit.
Well, don't play the 50 with it then. Don't play the 50 right there, knowing that.
But you shouldn't go out and spend 500 of your credit card in True Religion.
Right, but even if you have, let's say your electric bill was $600 and you don't got 600, so you put it on a credit card. That doesn't justify paying that bill. Lower your fucking electricity bill. Turn some shit off.
If you don't pay it
You're
off,
living out.
If you don't pay
living
it,
outside of your means.
If you don't pay it, your electricity and your gas gets shut off.
You're living outside of your means.
What am I supposed to do when my lights won't turn on for my kids and I don't have the money to pay this bill?
Then all you're doing is digging yourself deeper and making it to where next month you're going to struggle, and then that's going to carry to the next month. Now you set yourself back 6 months.
Now, but
go a week without it. Okay. Go a week without it.
So why are people not able to afford the electricity bill?
Of course.
So there's other systemic issues. You know,
argue all that. I'm not going to go down that route. Of course, we know that. I shouldn't have to argue that with you.
I don't blame.
What I'm saying is,
for giving that dude diabetes who drinks Mountain Dew 8 times a day.
Steve, you're making the perfect picture for me, baby. You're making it right there for me, right? Exactly, right? All that's going on, right? And we don't want those things to happen. So that's wrong, right? But now we don't go, that's wrong. Instead, we go, use the credit card. Use the credit card. Next month, use the credit card. Next month, next thing you know, a year passed and all you owe is fucking debt. When if really that credit card didn't exist, the first month that you couldn't pay a bill, you would go, something needs to fucking change.
Or you wouldn't be in a fucking house. Simple as that.
You would downgrade. You're figuring it out.
Maybe.
You're figuring it out.
Again, maybe.
If you can't afford a house, go into an apartment.
Everyone would figure it out. A lot of times, apartments are more expensive than house mortgages.
What you're saying is they're not figuring it out. All you're doing is paying it falsely and owing money that you don't even have. That's all you're doing. You didn't have it this month.
But to put that on the credit card company, because we are allowing people to take on things that they can't even afford.
That's the same thing as anything, though. If you give it to people, you can't sit there and blame them for using it. You can't get people addicted to shit and then go, oh, get off it. Or people are still acceptable things. There wouldn't be advertisements if that didn't exist. There's still things that they smack inside of your face and go, you want this, you want that, you want this, you want this. And that's legal every single day. That's exactly the argument I was trying to make with Pepsi, with like anything like that soda. Like every single day, that's just pushed. It's no more, that's no big deal. Just like buying things on a credit card and buying things that you can't afford. It's another thing that they get to where it's like, this is what you want. It's not right to me. Where if you, let's say if you never got, what I'm trying to say is, you go to the store and the water's $2, but the Pepsi's $1, right?
Right.
Or so you go this month with no bill, with no electricity, or you put it on your credit card. But that doesn't solve the problem for most people. I think that's a very low percentage that can go, all right, now we're going to pay that off and we're going to get it right next month. I think that does not happen.
Again, but to shift the responsibility on these companies when there's other underlying systematic issues to be at play for people to turn to credit cards for things like that. Now,
so McDonald's has no play in obesity. Walmart has no play in welfare.
Well, of course they do. They pay bad wages, but
it's the same exactly with that.
Again, you change it.
But for now, I'm not going to say
McDonald's is there on the corner. You choose to go to McDonald's. You at the end of the day, you choose to go to McDonald's.
So now they choose that, right? But you don't. But with the bill, that's a simple situation, right? Where if you're that same fucking family,
you gotta live.
You're behind.
You gotta live
exactly.
You gotta use electricity.
You gotta eat. So if you can't afford your goddamn BG&E and you ain't got no goddamn money to feed your family, you can go for a $1 menu and get 20 fucking nuggets for $1 fucking $1.
And then you go and do that. That's where obesity comes from.
And you go and
that's where obesity comes from.
So McDonald's plays a play in that. It's one big system fuck. And I'm saying all of these things just give you ways out, easy ways out. And that's why you just keep building this fucking debt that we never get ourselves out of. Keep buying that cheap, nasty-ass food. Keep paying that bill on that credit card. You know what I mean? Keep trying to skimp all these ways around your life. You're never going to make an improvement. You're always fighting just to get even.
Of course. But I mean,
they're the consumer they want.
That's what I'm saying. But again, me saying all this, me knowing all this, I then go and make a decision to not accrue more.
Right, I know. I'm not making an argument on you. You get what I'm saying. I'm making an argument for that.
And of course, if you allow McDonald's to do it, you gotta allow credit card companies to do it. Simple as that. Again, you would see. I believe you would see. The government. I believe. I know. Also, but this is where the conspiracy really comes into play. Is when you require credit scores and credit history to then apply for housing and whatnot. Where people are now.
This is
have
true.
to. That's where the conspiracy plays into play. That's where the conspiracy.
I currently deal with this. I would love to go get a loan. I don't have no credit.
If there were no credit loans, businesses wouldn't be started every day if there was no such thing as a loan or credit or companies loaning out money in some fashion.
Of course, that has to be a way.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons money throughout this country flows so freely, and that's
But
where
right-
and that's where the problem needs to shift to where we need higher wages. We need to find some way to lower those things.
I'm all with you. All I'm saying is like right
options.
now, you can go online and get a credit card sent to you. I could get you 10 credit cards sent to you if you want. How many bank loans can you get sent to you over online right now? None. You would have to go there. It is a process to do something like that. It's an actual process. You can't just go get 5 bank loans for whatever you want. You got to prove that you can do that. And you try and do it right. But it's very
on my
easy
Wells Fargo app
to get a credit line.
On my Wells Fargo app, I can go and get I can straight up get a cash back or a cash advance through my Wells Fargo app if I needed to.
That wouldn't be like a house loan like we were talking about, though.
But that's what I'm saying. You then have financial institutions, just the same banks that hold your money, have the same access, to take cash advances and whatnot for, we can
go down the whole line of there. Something needs to be changed.
Of course,
here.
They make it super easy accessible. McDonald's makes their menu super cheap, so people choose to buy their food. But again, you choose to get in that situation of where you're in shit. Is it predatory? Of course. Should you have a 25% interest rate? Of course not.
But your granddaddy lived next to that McDonald's.
Of course, these companies, do things that are wrong and make people use these types of things. But again, if you would have a society in which wages were higher, matched the cost of living, and people had access to opportunities, if they prey on people who need it the most. Now, for a lot of people, going a month without the lights isn't an option. Going to summer without running your AC so you don't got to pay the AC bill is not an option. It doesn't help you get into get anywhere further. But like an advancement in your job, or even people getting paid 10-10, getting pushed up to 15, could go a long way, in the grand scheme of things. When your minimum wage is set, 10-10.
I taught you about it before, bro. My mom was horrible with money, bro. I've been there where you don't turn the AC on there. I've been there with no fucking BG&E, bro. I've been there at that situation. There was no credit card. There was no credit card for my mom to get.
Credit cards have been around forever. But she could have got one.
There was none of this. Not my mom at this time. There wasn't even hand phones, Steven. You couldn't just go online and do it. It wasn't as easy, bro.
Yeah, they're making it easier, more accessible.
The easiest thing ever, bro. She could not go on there was no phone to even get on. So let's just end that right there. There's not even a phone for her. She would have to go on the fucking desktop and try to apply for something online for a credit card. There might have been 2 or 3 companies to choose out of.
All she'd have to do is go into a phone book and find a credit company to call, and then they'd mail her the paperwork, in which she would then fill the application and send it back.
I would love to see how easy that was. I would love to see how easy that was back then. What? Because why wasn't credit cards? Why weren't there credit cards 20 years ago then?
There wasn't the electronic infrastructure to implement credit cards.
Exactly.
It's just an advance. It's just the way the world advances. You know what I'm saying?
How much easier is it accessible from 20 years ago to now to get a credit card, Steven?
But then again,
is it times 100?
But then again, you can work at Walmart. You can buy a fucking house. You can buy a fucking house at Walmart. You need to worry about turning your lights on, because I could work at Walmart 30 hours a week and afford my electricity bill. I could do all that on that type of wage. You didn't have to turn to credit to pay for your shit. Nowadays, you got people who have to use credit to pay for their fucking shit, or they go without.
You're literally saying my argument that I just made, bro. That's literally what I said.
But to pass it on to the credit companies of course they have predatory practices, but the passive responsibility on their credit card company, for poor money management, whatever you want to say.
Okay, Steve, then
it's ridiculous.
Okay, then Steven, then cigarette companies can do ads, right? Where cool-ass animals post up at schools and smoke cigs, right? Because why would you ever blame the consumer, Steven? Why would you ever blame the consumer?
A minority population, who can't buy the product.
How are you doing? What are you talking about?
Of course you can't put a poster in school because minorities can't buy tobacco products. You can't
I never said put a poster in school. I'm talking
You said put a poster on a school near school.
I said a commercial.
And they fucking do that.
Do you remember?
You go around at any New York bodega,
Do you remember the Camel commercial? It's literally a dude driving up on a fucking top-down Mustang type shit, smoking a cig out in front of school in a leather jacket.
Did you do that?
Is that okay or not?
Did you do that?
Is that okay or not? Okay, then why?
But you don't go. You don't go and let an 11-year-old get a credit card. What are you saying?
Dog, but nowadays you're living in a different generation. Nowadays, daddy and mommy have credit cards, and they buy you things on their credit card just like they buy themselves things on their credit card.
Okay.
It's the same thing. It's a next generation of fuckery. You don't always blame the consumer. You blame the system in certain instances, bro.
And I said that. I said
you
that
can't just keep
predatory.
letting them
I
feed
said
it.
that.
But don't choose it. Don't choose it. Oh, if this is the only water, but don't drink it. I mean, it just don't make sense.
But this is what I'm saying. You know, again, like back then people could go and afford the shit.
You
When you have, like I said, when you have
said,
families and decisions to make,
you
know,
sat
credit's
there and
easy.
said you can't build credit without a credit card.
Yeah. I said that was conspiracy. I said that's where the conspiracy comes into play. Where
Exactly.
you make that? That's what I'm saying.
So
that's what I'm saying.
So now, how are you blaming a consumer when all they're trying to do is get credit?
Of course, like
it's
I said, that's where it gets conspiratorial right there. Exactly, where you're making these checks and balances.
So how are you
have to get that?
So how are you sitting here blaming consumers still?
But before we got where people are, because people use credit cards just to go to fucking buy whatever. Like
and
you said,
they
overspend.
And they do. But a lot of people are falling victim to that.
But you know how easy people fall victim to it every day. Just like we're getting to this point where we've identified the overprescription of like Oxycontin, and we see that people are getting hooked and addicted, and then the reason they're pushing this shit is because it sells and they make money.
You're telling the bear don't get caught in the bear trap. You're telling the coyote don't get caught in the fur trap. Because if you do, the fur trap was there. Don't fucking choose it.
I said it was predatory from the beginning with but and nowadays it's one thing. Yeah, there's a lot of bad with it, but I mean, there's a lot of people that helps in everyday life. I mean,
that was more bad than good, in my opinion.
I mean, what do you do to solve that? I mean, like,
well, first of all, I would look at something like along the lines of how do I fix like credit scoring. So then maybe I would go with like credit scoring of like maybe your job history. What is your employment in the last 10 years or 5 years of your life, and then maybe that equates to something of it. And then see honestly, I'm kind of going a little China here, bro. Because I do kind of believe in that,
like social credit. Like
obviously, you shouldn't have to install shit in your phone for fucking government to read your messages and shit like that. But I do think like people that do bad should get less things in society. I think that things are a privilege. Certain things are a privilege. And if you want to be out here, like let's say, man, as weird as it sounds, man, like I hate to be the guy, but like, let's say you like got 3 fucking assaults on your record.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or like, assault with a deadly weapon, something like that. Like you're a repeat offender, of whatever bodily thing, matter if you sell meth, whatever it may be. Like, I don't think you have the same rights as someone that hasn't been prosecuted with those things. And of course, there's certain things that shouldn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like petty theft.
Well, I mean, like
small time drugs.
So, like for me, like where I kind of like agree with like this whole kind of system that they have in play with the surveillance. I mean, of course, being in a public space, you're open to surveillance in any kind of capacity. I mean, it's just how things work nowadays. It's just the direction we're moving. But I mean, people in China, they think twice before they throw that trash on the ground. They think twice before they don't pick up after the dog. They think twice before they, make an illegal turn on red. I mean, like, there's bad habits and bad, things that are combative with a system like this. Is it an overreach? Yeah, it's not perfect.
But if you were in that system, you like to think you have a pretty good credit score, right?
But and then also with people like that, China also has like a 2 billion population. We're having trouble controlling 400 million. How do you control a couple billion? Well, you get a technology system that has facial recognition to monitor it for you.
You're absolutely right.
I mean, they say a lot of Chinese people look the same. I mean, like you go and look in a crowd of
very hard.
Have a human pick try and spot the offender.
This is true.
I mean, do the same thing in America. Have someone in Times Square.
It just gets weird when they like make them download those apps and shit like that.
There's a lot of crazy shit, but
now you're going next level, right? And I don't know. It all depends on what you do. Because I always want to give people a chance, but like if you keep fucking up, there does come a point where I have to take something away. But like they take away like public transportation. Like what would it take? What would it take for you to take away public transportation from someone?
I mean, for me, something as simple as like you get called a couple of times littering in this train station. It's like, well, you've kind of lost the privilege to use this train station. We got to pay people to clean this shit up.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I see.
You don't take care of our public services, you don't get to use them type of deal. I mean, like, it gets tough and murky when you decide, what to, charge and what not to charge for people. Like, I mean, it's like just because that person littered in the subway system a bunch do we then like be like, oh, you're a child molester, you don't get to use the public transit
Right,
system?
right,
Either, you
right,
know,
right, and that's
you're
what I'm talking
able,
about.
or you're able to use it, and he can't because he littered. And,
Exactly. And then it's like you always have the corruption base of things, right? Where there's like, you littered. No, I didn't. Like, you really didn't. Now you got littering on you. Now your credit score is down 100. Now you can't get a house loan.
Or like you kind of have like a same thing where like for some reason like you know, if you give Baltimore City an example, for some reason they just over scrutinize and overwatch Gilbert Holmes and just charge people for every little fucking thing, you know. Whereas you know, minorities can be abused in systems like that. You know, I mean, you see similar things happen with like the Muslims in China, where like, you know, it's just like, you know, same thing. It gets murky, definitely.
Yeah,
is it
obviously you can't say anarchy, right? We can all agree that we can't do anarchy, or it's gonna be wild.
Yeah,
right.
You ever heard of the Big Six?
No.
So there's 6 main powers. Now, ever since the Edward Snowden thing, where the NSA spying on everybody and whatnot, what they went and did was they gathered 6 countries. I think Australia, France, UK. You know, 6 countries. They all do the spying on each other's citizens, pretty much, to kind of get around the whole loophole and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? We're in that type of agreement right now, where, you know, it's like, yeah, America doesn't, you know, do it, but Australia monitors it all because we share that information with them. No, the NSA isn't doing it. The Australian government's doing it. Maybe that's incorrect. Maybe it's not Australia that does it. But you know what I'm saying? It's like they find ways around shit.
Well, that's sketchy. Like, you know? So yeah, that would just be the stupidest shit ever. That's the direction
we're going. You know, as far as, you know, security, watching people. I mean, privacy is becoming a marketable commodity.
I love kids and all, man. I love kids and I love people and everything, man. But there's always that little part of me that just wants to see it all go down in flames before I die, you know, just to see it all just end.
Yeah, you know, definitely. I mean, like
Venezuela style.
Like, yeah, you know, it's like, I mean, of course, I don't want to see people die, but I mean, I would love to see some. You know, we were here in Baltimore during the riots in 2015. You know, it's like, shit was crazy.
There's a feeling to that, ain't it?
Exactly.
There's a feeling to that.
Especially when it comes to like massive groups participating in things like that.
Yeah.
And it was very interesting to watch order crumble
overnight. Yeah, because you've never seen it to that extent.
Exactly. I mean, like, everyday life, you don't see people burn a cop car.
Right.
Well, there were cop cars being
throwing rocks at them.
Yeah. Oh, my. Yeah. I mean, how quickly society can break down in such a fashion if you get enough people behind it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's scary at times.
Because you go like, what's the ratio, right, for a cop to a person in Baltimore? 1 to fucking 400 or 500, something like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you get 50% of the people to go, fuck this shit.
Exactly.
They ain't got a chance, bro. It's the same thing in a prison, right? Yeah. If everyone in the yard at the same time goes, we're escaping, they ain't got a chance.
Remember, there was that one video for a while where it was like, where they had that. There's a video of it where they had that big ass like prison riot gang fight.
Yeah.
Stabbing and beating each other up. I mean, you get hundreds of people into enough to do it. Yeah, chaos ensues, and it's from there.
I heard like, I can't remember. I think it was like on that story, but the one guy, I think it was on Lockup, like, or a documentary or something. And the guy's like, that's what that reminds me of the stand-up comedian. But people were in there and they're like, it's like, how you know? He's like, you've been involved in riots? He's like, yeah, I've been involved in a few riots. It's like, so how you know when a riot's about to pop off? He's like, you always look at the Spanish people's shoes. He's like, Spanish people got on boots. And so he's like, oh, the Mexicans got on boots. He's like, next thing you know, people start whispering around, Mexicans got on boots. Mexicans got on boots. He's like, I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I didn't know what the fuck that meant. Next thing you know, 100 Mexicans come out with shanks. Shit just starts popping off, you know? Like, and when you watch that video, like, you could just see everybody acting weird.
Yeah.
Like, there's a weird, and it's weird how, like,
there's an eeriness to it.
Isn't it weird how a feeling can go in the air? Like, that's so true, ain't it? Like, you can feel that tension in that circle, right?
Yeah.
Like a body dies, you can feel that sorrow in the air. Like,
yeah. I mean, like, everyone's seen someone like bomb on stage. And like that awkwardness that fills the area.
Yeah. And you just cringe. Just like
it turns into cringe when you have a huge enough amount of awkwardness.
You feel bad for someone.
You have enough awkwardness, it turns into cringe.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
there's this There's
Who's
this
gonna tell this
fucking,
guy?
I
Who's
don't
gonna
know
tell
what
this guy?
dragged me to this, but there's this fucking awesome show, man, on Netflix called Confession Tapes. And it's just all episodes about people that gave false confessions, bro. And just lied on their self, just said what the cops wanted them to say. And then got proven innocent. Season 1, it was only 2 seasons so far. Season 1 had like a couple questionable ones that you're like,
Yeah.
because at the end, like the cops that prosecuted these people never want to admit it. They never, at the end, they're always like, the wrong people are out. They're out free. Like, well, like there was this one I watched. Like, I couldn't go to sleep last night because I was watching it, bro. It's just so good. Season 1's awesome. But like season 2 had me hooked on episode 3. It's like these guys, these 3 cousins, their fucking uncle and aunt just get fucking their heads blown off by shotties in the middle of the night. Nobody knows what happened. So they bring in the cousin and he's like, I want to help. I want to help. And they just keep pressuring him, And like when you watch these tapes, that's what brought me to this. You can feel that cringiness, of like, bro, you ain't doing this right.
Yeah, you did it.
There's like there's a bunch of sketching where people are like, I want an attorney.
Yeah.
And like what they'll do is like they just won't say nothing. They'll step outside, like go on the phone or something like that, and they're just like, and they just come back in and start talking, and act like it didn't even happen, basically. Well, on this one, this guy's like, I didn't do anything, and then eventually, like, they get him to falsely confess. That's what the show's about. So I ain't even gonna get into how they do all that and shit.
Right.
Watch the show; it's awesome. And they just talking about all that, and he's like, he ends up telling him like it just sounds so stupid too, like, oh yeah, I blew her away, and then I put it to him and I blew her away. And he ends up ratting on his cousin, the person he grew up with, who's innocent too, bro. Just completely innocent. He's like, they're like, you did it with someone else. Because there's like a blood spatter and there's a missing spot, so they can tell like someone was there. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
There's blood spatter and then there's a stop and then there's more blood. And they're like, oh, someone was right here when they shot right here.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So he's like, yeah. He rats on his cousin.
He didn't do anything.
Who was like cooking at his job, bro. And at first, like they go through the car and everything, and they can't find nothing. And like next thing you know, they fucking hire this the Nebraska's finest fucking detective,
Right.
And he finds a little bit of blood, and get right. And basically, these people are getting ready to go away for life. Come to find out, bro, they found a ring, dog. A fucking ring in the house, and it had an engrave on it of where it got made at. So they called up the business, and the business said, well, we didn't sell it in Nebraska, we sold it in Minnesota. So then they found out how it got in Minnesota. Oh, it was stolen from this truck that a teenage couple stole. And then they went down to fucking Florida or something, and they cut through Nebraska to get there. So they tracked them down, and they end up admitting to it, right? But as they're going, they lie too. Well, the girl does, and she's like, yeah, we had 2 other people with us. Bro, and she randomly says this guy's name that falsely confessed, dog. A completely random thing. Like a name that they're like, who? And he just, I think it was like Nick Swanson or something like that. The other guy she got wrong. Right. But like just this name was right,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then the Nick Swanson guy ends up coming in like, no, I didn't do this the next day. They hide the tapes, bro. They never show anybody the tape of him recounting his confession.
Right.
So then this girl, like a week later, she goes to try and tell them the truth. She's like, nobody else was with us. It's me and my boyfriend. We took their money and we killed them. And they won't believe her, bro. They're like, no. We know that them 2 were there, and you're just fucking lying. And she's like, I'm literally trying to tell you the truth. We did both of these murders.
You can feel like that she's like being truthful.
She's total. She already lied. You could see when she was lying. She sounded so stupid, bro. She was 17, dog. So she's like, I just want to punch these 2 in the face. Like, can't believe they made us do this. Like, she just sounds so dumb. You're like, when a kid's lying, that's what it is. Yeah. And in this one, she's like, no, we killed these people. And they're like, you're just dragging us around. Right. And they get up and fucking step out and shit. And come to find out that the fucking Nebraska detective that I told you about, he fucking planted that blood, in the car to like make his own case. That's
crazy.
Did 2
That's
years.
Ridiculous.
He did 2 years on plant evidence. Yep.
Oh, that's bullshit.
Yep. And they were gonna go They were gonna serve
Oh
life in
my
jail,
God,
bro,
man, those-
for this random guy just saying he did it when he didn't, and
Yeah.
just bringing his cousin into it for no reason. And his cousin's like, I love him still, but I'll never forget that his fucking confession could have had me in jail for the rest of my life. Yeah, and like both the girl and her boyfriend ended up getting 2 life sentences for the murders and shit. And it's just like crazy. It is crazy to see, bro, how someone will falsely confess on themselves. I've watched a lot of them now,
especially under that pressure. You know?
Yeah,
Like,
a lot of them are just like, I really thought like I'm just telling them what they wanted to hear, that I would go home.
yeah.
And like, there's certain things that they always break boundaries that they're not supposed to. Like, I didn't know, like, you're not supposed to bring up like the death penalty and shit. Like, you can say, you know, oh, the punishment for this is life in jail or a death penalty. But like, you can't be like, they're going to fry you, or all they want to do is stick that needle in your veins. Like, you can't say things like that.
Yeah,
that's already
threatening. I mean,
you know, and then of course, you know, when somebody asks for a lawyer, you have to stop interrogating them right away. Come in. If someone recants a confession, you can't hide the fucking tape, obviously. And it's just so scary to see, like, the guys, like, you can tell a lot of time it is simple-minded people, like, especially on confession tapes. You know, on the other documentary I told you about with the Central Park 5, like, they were kids, you know, but a lot of these people on confession tapes are adults, and they're just simple-minded, not like the stupidest people. You know, they can function, but like, you can see how someone can be like, this is what you did. And then you're like, no. And then they do it 150 times and they take you down this road. And like, they always try and dress it like, if you don't tell us the truth, you're going to get the death penalty.
Exactly.
If you tell us the truth, I can argue it. I can argue it for you.
That shit's so fucking disgusting to watch,
bro.
Man,
bro, check that show out.
Because,
it's like, awesome.
Me and you sit there and we're like, yeah, I'm never going to confess to something that I didn't do. But, you know, people do it.
All the time.
Every day, all the time in
bro.
America, you know? And, I mean, you know, for first thing I'm doing when I go in there, I'm just like, you put me there. You put me at the scene. You frame it. I'll go back to myself.
Man, that's what they did. So they framed it. You know what I mean? Literally. And then you're like, thank God these other 2 ended up admitting it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, tracking that couple down.
That was great police work. But they didn't want to do that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And when you get to the end of that one, the police officer on there, he's like, those 2 motherfuckers are still walking free. He's like, look at them. They both got paid and they did them and they got away with murder. And like, they still, none of the police officers that ever are the one that put them away are ever like, I made a mistake. I've never, bro. I've watched 25 false confessions. I've never seen a police officer go, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And that's why I love confession tapes, bro, because they put them motherfuckers on the spot. You know, they got nothing to lose. They're trying to make a good show.
Exactly.
So like, they ask the questions, you know, they're like, well, like on the one girl, there's a whole different one. Like the girl like disappeared. They blame this random guy. He falsely confesses. She went to a party that night, you know? They're like, did you ever interview anybody at the party? He's like, I didn't see no need to. We already had 2 people that confessed. He's like, what do I care about? Why am I going to ruin people's time at a party? And they're like, you're doing a homicide investigation.
What are you talking about?
You know what I mean? And she was at the party before. Yeah, you got to check it out so we can talk about it, bro.
I got to watch a lot.
Trust me. But this is like short ones, you know, so you can like, they keep you into it. Like, look,
I mean,
like 45 minutes.
You know what I mean? Like, they pretty much hook you from the
they're really good.
They know how to hook you into that, like, you know, what happened?
And you get that
exactly,
and you get that cringiness, like when you can be like, this guy is fun. Like when that detective that planted that evidence, they asked him, they're like, so what did you find when you re-examined the car? He's like, what did I find? Didn't even remember. Bro.
I remember I think it was like the first episode in the first season where they take those kids to the motel and question them over like 3-4 days at a motel.
Yep.
I mean, after you drill somebody that long, they're gonna come out and say something just to end that feeling of pressure or whatever.
Especially a kid, man.
They're looking for an out, you know. I mean, I guess people rationalize things in crazy ways in order to find a good out.
Or like a lot of times I feel like they just like, they really are trying to put this on me. Like they're going to put me on that. They're going to give this to me. So I might as well just try and get as least time as I can.
A plea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. That's fucking. I gotta watch it. I definitely gotta watch it.
Sad and cringy, dog.
Definitely gotta watch it.
That's what those shows are.
Yeah. I hate cringe. I hate the feeling
That's
of
what it
cringe.
is when you're just like,
Cringe
you can tell, like, bro, you lied on someone's life, dog. You lied on someone's life. And the thing is, you don't got no money to get from that. You don't got no reputation to withhold. You can always just not solve a case that happens every day. You lied on someone. Why? Why would you lie on someone to
Right.
put their life away forever, bro?
And
And when I thought about that guy getting 2 years, not my style. You planted evidence. It depends on what case you did. Okay, so you planted evidence on a homicide.
Right.
You get a homicide charge. You know what I mean? Or maybe it's tampering with a homicide case, and that's
And
15 years.
a lot of times what happens is, the cases that the cop has worked and has convicted, a lot of those turn, they then get reversed.
With that Baltimore cop, remember?
Exactly.
Like 100 cases.
Exactly. So, and I mean,
a lot of the drug team task force too, like 4,000 cases.
Of course, get loose, but I mean, those guilty ones get out there too. That you work their case, and it was like, nah, that doesn't add up, But maybe he really did do it. Maybe they were on the right track with that. But I mean, the consequences of your actions ultimately, come on.
At the end of the day, though, I do believe in.
Again, it's not like you get a bonus for every case solved, So it's like, why?
I do believe in proving things beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think they said that perfectly. Where it's like the one guy on there, the guy that lied. He's like, planted evidence. He's like, I don't believe any confessions. He's like, I only believe evidence. It's like, but you planted evidence. The fuck?
Exactly.
And you guys, forced a confession. So it's some real sketchy shit going on.
Yeah, there's that one quote. It was like one of our founding legislators, it was like, our justice system, even if 100 guilty men go free, one innocent man shouldn't be wrongfully imprisoned or something along those lines.
Yeah,
where it's
like, which as bad as it sounds, is true.
You have to provide undeniable proof.
Exactly.
I mean, that's just how it has to go. I mean, you're playing with people's lives. You're playing with, you're making one of the ultimate mistakes. It's like
on that first guy that I was telling you about with the girl at the party and shit. Fucking when they convicted him, bro, 11-1 on the juror for the death penalty. For the death penalty, dog. He'd have been dead before he got freed. Before it even came out, he'd have been dead 11-1. One woman said it wasn't enough for the death penalty.
Yeah,
saved his life, bro.
And those are the peers on your jury.
It's crazy. I always say something's wrong with the juror process, bro. I'm just saying, I know some low IQ people. I'm sorry to even talk about people like that.
People don't even care.
Unempathetic.
People, I've never served on a jury or been in a jury room with deliberation, but I've had people who've served on juries, and they're just like, look, most people here think he's guilty. Well, I'm not trying to hold everybody up. He's guilty, but some of them, it's like
don't even have an opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, like those types of things. Those jurors will sit there, and figure it out.
Sick to my stomach, bro.
I don't believe it, man. I don't believe it. I'm not that one.
Like there was one time where I got selected for a murder trial.
Yeah.
And I did not want to do it, bro. I like the idea of because I feel like I would give a good opinion. I feel like I would pay it. I'd be a good juror.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm like, I don't want to be somebody that puts somebody out. I just don't think that I'm the guy that should say you're guilty from just me. Bro, and I think it's about knowing people. It's not about knowing people, man. If I fucked up, bro, let's say I killed somebody. You wouldn't believe that I deserve life in prison, right? Depending on what I did, of course, But if I fucked up, I'm like, Steve, bro, we got into a fight. I couldn't stop hitting him. I beat him to death. Do I deserve life in prison? You know that I'm not that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
But then there's certain people where you're like, I always knew that motherfucker would beat someone to death if he got on top of him, or something like that. So it's like, who are you just to be this random ass person? Based off of what? Two people who are trying to win the case told me,
right.
You're guilty, you're innocent. That's so weird, bro. That is a weird system, dog. I don't like that.
I feel you on that. But I think on that note, I'm about to call it a cast.
Another good one, baby. Good arguments today.
He took down Dirk. He retired.
If anybody else got Dirk down, square up. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Check us out, man. We're going to get some guests up in here, have some good talk soon.
Like the video. Like the page.
Live subscribe. Weekend. Thank you.
Share.
We out, baby.
Good night. Gotta hold it.